Rachel is driving along a winding, forest-lined road that feels like it's taking her deeper into nowhere. She checks her phone and sees there's no signal. As she passes a faded, weather-beaten sign that reads, Lake Haven, 2 miles, she turns the radio dial, but all she gets is static. The trees grow thicker, casting long, eerie shadows on the road, and the sky above becomes overcast, giving the entire setting a muted, gray atmosphere. Rachel glances out the window and catches sight of a lake in the distance, a perfect mirror, reflecting the dull sky, giving her a brief sense of unease. As Rachel drives on, she starts feeling the isolation and silence pressing in on her. There are no sounds of birds or rustling leaves, just the steady hum of her car engine and the occasional crunch of gravel on her tires. The peaceful isolation she initially sought now feels a little too quiet, too still. She grips the steering wheel a bit tighter as her eyes drift back to the lake, its stillness almost unnatural. Rachel finally pulls up to her rental cabin, a small, rustic wooden structure just a few yards from the lake's edge. The cabin looks old, worn, but charming in its own way, with its weathered wood and sloping roof. She gets out of the car, breathing in the fresh, cool air, but immediately notices how still everything is. The lake, now closer, is eerily calm. No ripples, no movement. Just an expanse of glass-like water reflecting the overcast sky. Rachel takes a moment to observe the surroundings. There are no other houses nearby, no signs of life. It feels like she's the only one for miles. As she begins unloading her luggage, a cold gust of wind brushes past her, and for a moment, she hears what sounds like faint whispers. She freezes, glancing around, but sees nothing. Shaking off the feeling, she hauls her suitcase to the cabin's porch. The lake feels closer now, as though it's silently watching her. Every now and then, she feels compelled to look back at it, almost expecting something to be there. But each time, it's just the same still water. She enters the cabin, the creaky door shutting behind her with an ominous thud. Inside the cabin, Rachel takes in the cozy but rustic decor. Wooden beams, a stone fireplace, and old, comfortable furniture. There's a large bay window that directly overlooks the lake. As the day turns to night, the sky outside darkens, and the lake fades into a black void. The silence around the cabin grows louder, broken only by the occasional creak of the wood. Rachel lights a fire, attempting to bring some warmth and normalcy into the space. But no matter how much she tries to relax, her gaze keeps drifting back to that window and the unseen lake beyond it. Later that night, as Rachel tries to sleep, she's disturbed by a faint, rhythmic sound. Rachel wakes up to a pale, gray dawn filtering through the curtains, her body aching from the restless night. The lake is calm, as always, but the air feels heavier, like something ominous is on the horizon. Despite the eerie calm, Rachel feels a renewed sense of determination. She won't be a victim of the lake's curse. She starts formulating a plan to escape, even if it means walking away from the cabin on foot. As she moves around the cabin, gathering supplies for her escape, the whispers return, but this time, they're different. The voices seem desperate now, pleading with her instead of commanding. Don't leave, help us, free us. Rachel pauses, confused. Why would the spirits want her to stay? Are they trapped here, just like her? Searching through the cabin for anything useful, Rachel stumbles upon an old photo album. The album is filled with black and white photos of people who once stayed at the cabin. Families, couples, and friends, all smiling and enjoying the lake. But as Rachel flips through the pages, the smiles start to disappear. The later photos show the same people, but now they look frightened. Their eyes wide with terror. In the last few pages, the photos are blurry, distorted, as if the camera was shaking. Rachel recognizes one of the ghostly figures from the lake in a photo, a woman with long dark hair. standing by the water's edge. The realization sends a chill through her. The people in the photos are the spirits trapped in the lake. Whatever happened to them, it wasn't an accident. Determined to understand what happened to the people in the photos, Rachel goes back to town, searching for answers. She visits the town's small library and digs through old records. After hours of searching, she stumbles upon a newspaper article from decades ago. It tells the story of a series of mysterious drownings at Lake Haven, all of them connected to the same cabin she's staying in. The article mentions strange phenomena reported by survivors, whispers, ghostly apparitions. An overwhelming urge to walk into the lake. It's clear now that the lake is cursed, and the spirits of those who drown are trapped, unable to move on. But what Rachel doesn't understand is why the lake wants her to join them. Why her? Armed with the knowledge of the lake's curse, Rachel packs her bags. Determined to leave the cabin behind, she decides to follow the old trail that leads through the forest away from the lake. As she walks, the trees close in around her, their branches clawing at her clothes like fingers. The air grows colder, and the further she goes, the more she feels like something is watching her. After hours of walking, Rachel reaches a clearing, but instead of finding her way out, she's standing back at the edge of the lake. Panic sets in as she realizes the forest has somehow led her back. The lake seems to taunt her, its surface rippling slightly, as if laughing at her futile attempt to escape. Exhausted and defeated, Rachel falls to her knees, staring at the water, unsure what to do next. That night, Rachel sits by the fire, trying to think of another way to escape. The whispers return, louder than ever, filling the cabin with their ghostly presence. This time, the voices are clearer. Rachel finally understands what they want. The spirits in the lake are trapped, doomed to wander the water forever unless someone takes their place. The lake demands a sacrifice, a life for a life.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more fun songs as well as interesting and enjoyable stories.